Yeah, and I think you probably put your finger on it, George, that when an organization is designed to recognize certain shoots as being a title championship shoot, those are the ones that if you're interested in shooting with the best shooter, if you're interested in getting better at your sport, and if you're interested in shooting with the best, those are the ones you should attend. Now, like I said, based upon the emails that I received, I guess, and I'm just guessing because I don't know, but I guess there are people here in the USA who are not recognizing the fact that this was put on by an organization that is designed to put on championship shoots. So I guess there's a little politics going on in here, and I think it's beyond most of the average shooter. The new shooter probably doesn't care, and the people that are in maybe C and D and B, I mean, those people are in it. They're probably going to shoot locally. They would love to have the opportunity to shoot with people like yourself, but they know that that's probably a little further down the line. So I think we're talking politics here, right?
Well, yeah, I think you are in a little bit, but I also think that let me give you golf as an example. If you go to look at the golf scenario, there are 4 major events in the golf calendar. There's the Masters, the USPGA, the British Open, and the US Open. So they're the 4 golf events. Now you've got the Accenture World Match Play. You've got all of the Players Championships. They're all classed as big events, but they will only count in 20 years' time to the people that have won a major. And these shoots, the last thing I needed to do on the 1st of February was to get on a plane and fly 38 hours to New Zealand. But I'm sponsored, and when I represent my sponsors, I have to represent them in a way where their product is being flown all around the world and shown all around the world. Now they want those products shown at international events, and the international events are deemed those that are ratified by the governing body. You cannot make any argument against that. So my job at this time of the year is to look after my sponsors, and that meant getting on a plane on the 1st of February. So I can see where you're saying that there's politics, but at the end of the day, the politics count for nothing when it is an international event and it's an internationally ratified event.
Yeah, well, I think you brought out a good point there as well, because I hadn't thought about the sponsors' end of it. I don't know, I just didn't think of it. But that, in fact, is part of the driving force. That's what makes the game successful to begin with. Were there no sponsors, there'd probably be very few games. So you do, if you're being sponsored by someone, it is your responsibility, especially someone in your position, of course. But even people who are not in your position, who are being sponsored, they want to get their signage and their day in the sun out there to as many different shoots as they can. So that is a driving force. That is a very important factor. So I would say that for many of the shooters who may not have attended this, I guess they weren't driven by their sponsors enough to do it. Or, I'm just looking at it from your viewpoint, I'm thinking there may be some other reasons there, and maybe I just haven't given them enough thought. It is unfortunate. Now, however, I understand you are going to the World English in San Antonio coming up, right?
Yeah, I've entered in the World English in San Antonio, but then that's, it's the week before the Triple Classic, which is in Houston, I believe, somewhere near Houston, and it makes a very, very good week to 10 days of shooting, so we can come over and enjoy some good American hospitality, play a bit of golf, do a bit of shooting, and thoroughly enjoy the ambiance of things, catch up with a few friends, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Right. Now, well, maybe it's also an opportunity to sit down with the NSCA while you're there in San Antonio and figure out why they're not participating. And I don't know that's your responsibility, George, but it would be a good opportunity maybe to answer some of the questions that they have. Because I'm a little disappointed not to see some Americans on this list. And I'm personally going to say that right on the air. I'm sorry that there are no Americans who attended that. Might have given you a better run for your money.
You never know. You never know. But the one thing I've heard is that the World English Sporting Championship run by the NSCA is a big fundraising shoot for that organisation. Now, I've heard that the reason they didn't want to join the organisation was the fact that every second year they get the World English at San Antonio, and it was a massive fundraising shoot for them, and they didn't want the thought of, because there are 10, 12, 15, 20 nations competing for the international organisation or within the international organisation setup, they would only get the World English Championship perhaps once every 10 years, maybe once every 8 years. And that was going to dramatically affect their income from that shoot. And that's the reason that they chose not to enter the organisation, and they would run their own event, because they could still call it what they wanted, and it would be a massive fundraiser, and they could keep the funds coming in.
Yeah. See, there's a lot of factors here, George, that most of us don't think about as just an everyday shooter, and it's very interesting to discuss these with you because you get to see it from your level, and it's people like you that help organize these things that make it work. If it weren't for George Digweed, I think that the whole shooting of sporting clays would probably be different as well. So we certainly want to congratulate you for everything that you've done to help move that sport forward. Now, before I let you go, though, because I know it's getting late over there in the UK, there's a lot of people who don't know that you are, very successful in some other sports.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I understand that you have a nickname.
Surely you haven't seen that video, have you?
All I have is still pictures, actually, and it appears as though that you're on the cricket field.
Oh yeah, we do a bit of cricket. Cricket's always been a great love of mine, and I've been very privileged due to the fact that I've developed a little bit of a profile over the last few years with the championship success that I've had, and gaining an MBE from the Queen and that sort of thing, and I've been invited to play in a very high profile cricket team, which is called the Bunburys, and they raise huge amounts of money for charity. Over the last 10 years, I think they've raised something like £15 million for charity. I was able to play in the home of cricket, which is Lord's Cricket Ground in London. I was able to play in a charity match there at the end of last summer, and we raised $107,000 for myeloma cancer research. So it's nice to be able to put something back. Once you've gained a little bit of a profile, it's nice to be able to give something back for gaining that profile. But
yeah,
can
absolutely.
I just say before we go, just going back slightly to finish off on the clay shooting side of it, I really, really, and I'd love to go on record now, I'm really not interested in the politics. I am a competitor. All I do is I love to compete. When I go out and shoot, although I'm representing my sponsors and I'm representing shooting as a whole, I'm really only there. There is only one person I'm there for, and that's George Digweed. I love the thrill of the competition. I love going out, taking on each challenge as it comes, wherever we are in the world, wherever we're shooting, whatever we're shooting, they carry their own challenges. And for me, there is only one person I'm there for, and that's George Digweed. I love the thrill of the competition. I love going out, taking on each challenge as it comes, wherever we are in the world, wherever we're shooting, whatever we're shooting, they carry their own challenges. And for me, The challenge is to go out there with a shotgun, break as many targets as you can, and at the end of that day, see whether you're the best. And if you are, then that's fantastic. If you're not, shake the guy's hand and move on. Yeah. I'm really not interested in the politics. I'm there as a sportsman, because at the end of the day, sportsmen take part in sport. They leave the politics to other people.
And I think that's what helps form your greatness, George. You don't get, you don't have the swollen head that comes with winning so many. You're very approachable when you're not shooting, and you love to speak to people. I mean, I certainly enjoyed meeting you a few years ago, and while we were up in New England, and it was just like we were very friendly, and we had a good time together. And I think that's what you bring to the sport, and I think the sport would be less without you, quite frankly. But I do want to ask you, I mean, I don't know many people who actually have received anything from the Queen. And when we picked we asked the crew to do a little research and come up with some photographs of other people who have received something from the Queen. And so we're going to, I mean, I guess I didn't realize how long the Queen has been around. We've got pictures right now that she has been in office a long time, and she has recognized a lot of very famous people.
Yeah, incredible woman, and you know, the royalty in this country has always been a thing that's close to my heart. I'm a great royalist anyway, but to actually go up there and experience the day at Buckingham Palace, it certainly puts the hairs up on the back of your neck, that's for sure. You know, the tradition and the formality of everything. I'm not a great formal person. What you see is what you get. And you know, people always say to me when they come pheasant shooting, you know, I'll have some very, very wealthy guys come down pheasant shooting, and literally what you see is what you get. I'm exactly the same as them, as I am the beaters and, you know, whoever else is on the day, and that's me. But, you know, to go up there on that particular day and receive the MBE, it is very, very formal. You're in Buckingham Palace, you're in her private home, you're receiving the award from the Queen in the Queen's ballroom, and just the scale and the grandeur of everything that goes on. I mean, to give you an idea, the size of the ballroom inside Buckingham Palace, they can actually get, and I believe it's 15 or 16 double-decker London buses inside that one room, should they choose to. So that gives you the scale of the grandeur that, you know, we were met with on that particular day, and it was it was something that I was very, very honoured to be you know, granted an MBE. And I wasn't necessarily looking forward hugely because of the formality to going and receiving it. But having been there and done it, I can honestly say it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life.
Yeah, well, and that's why the crew ran those pictures, because you were among some of the people who are quite famous in the world. And, well, you know, as while we're on the subject, George, I don't know too many people who have a racehorse named after them either.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that when he's run a few more times, eh?
Well, I know there's some good stories there because I've spoken to Kate about them, and maybe next time we can spend a little more time talking about some of the other things that you do in life that you are recognized for. And thank you very much for taking the time. I know it's getting late out there, George. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, anytime. Just give us a shout.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.